3-point lighting is a fundamental lighting technique and an absolute staple in the world of video production. But what is it, how is it achieved, and where can I use this style of lighting? Find out in this video. So 3-point lighting is exactly what the title implies. It is a lighting setup consisting of 3 lights. We have our key, our fill, and our backlight. So let's grab a person, place them onto a chair, and let's put one light in front of them. This is going to be just off to the side of them, and this is going to be our key light. Think about the key light as your main light. The 2 other lights are just there to accompany the key light. So make sure you get this into a good position, just off to the side of the face, so you should see a nice amount of light on the face and a little bit of shadow on the one side. Now, we're going to add in our second light, and this is our fill light. And the whole point of the fill light is to fill in the shadows created by the key light. So if we had shadows on this side of the face, the fill light is just going to fill in. So as you probably guessed, this is another light at the front, in front of the person, just at a slightly different angle. So we're going on the opposite side of the camera now. Generally, the fill light wants to be lower intensity than the key light. So the key light should be your brightest, and then the fill light should be a little dimmer. We're just trying to fill in a little bit, but we're not throwing loads of light at the person. And then we want to place a backlight, and a backlight is going behind the person on camera. Now, as you can see in this example, I have a backlight, so it's just creating this source of light on my hair. You can see if I place my hand in front and behind my hair, you can see the difference that this is making. It's just creating separation from the subject and the background. That's the entire purpose of the backlight. So the backlight is essentially going to give your frame a little bit of depth. We're creating that distance from the subject to the background. And in order to create the backlight, you just want to place a light onto a stand and just have that pointing at the person's head and just position this slightly off camera. Now, in my example, I've mounted this to the ceiling, so you can't see any light stands behind me. But if you don't have that luxury and you have to use a light stand, then just position this just off camera. So be careful not to catch the light in frame, but make sure that it's far enough behind them that it catches light on the back of their head. Now, the backlight should not be intense. It should not be a bright light. It wants to be very minimal. Because the problem is, if you have this too intense, it's going to pick up stray hairs, and it's just going to look like your person has frizzy hair and they need to brush their hair. So have this at a very low intensity, just enough to catch the hair, but not enough to show off loads of stray hairs going everywhere, because that's never going to be a good look. Now, where would you use a 3-point lighting setup? Pretty much anywhere you could imagine, anywhere you need lighting, anytime you're lighting a person or a subject, a 3-point lighting setup is going to be an option that you may want to consider. Now, the problem with 3-point lighting is it does lack a little bit of character. It's a pleasant look, and if you're doing an interview, this is the option that you might want to go down, but it might be a little cold and clinical for some styles of work. And in that example, you may want to consider using a 2-point lighting setup, because 2-point lighting is just leaning into a slightly moodier look. And in order to create your 2-point lighting setup, we are just removing the fill light. So we've got a 3-point lighting setup, fill, key, backlight. If we remove light number 2, which is our fill light, we've essentially got our key light number 1 and our backlight number 3. So we're using these 2 lights, and when you're doing this, you want these lights to be on opposite sides. So if your fill light is on the right side of the face, your backlight wants to be on the left side of the face, so back here. Now, 2-point lighting, as you can see, because we've got a little bit of shadow, this can be a little moodier. So if we're creating a film where you want to create a little bit of suspense, or this is a sad topic, this can be a great way of just leaning into that just a pinch. And of course, it's always worth shooting on the shadowed side of the face when you are using 2-point lighting. So if we're doing an interview setup and the key light is shining on the right side of the face, I would place the camera on the left side of the face to focus more on the shadowed side of the face, because this is creating a little bit more drama, and this can make your footage really stand out. So 3-point lighting is a go-to lighting setup that is great in most examples, but if you want to create a little bit more character and mood into your footage, then consider removing the fill light to turn your 3 into a 2-point lighting setup. And this will give you more edge when you're filming. And there you go. Hopefully you found this video helpful. This video is part of an ongoing series where I talk all about lighting in film. So if you would like to learn more about creative video lighting, then please check out this playlist just up here.